Good morning. Robert here from the Red Dragon School of Martial Arts. Today, I would like to introduce to you one of the most profound learning experiences ever created. Tai Chi Chuan, sometimes referred to as Tai Chi or Tai Chi, is an ancient form of learning that dates back over 1,000 years. It originated in China and was believed to be influenced by a great work of art or a great book written by Lao Tzu, the book I Ching. The book itself, and this is an oversimplification really, helps us to understand that the natural world is in a constant state of change, that everything has a cycle and an equal and opposite supporting energy, if you will. So it's a way of perceiving the natural world and using that as a measurement or a guideline for our own lives. Whether it's any area of life, if you will, that we would naturally want to harmonize. So when we think of Tai Chi and we sort of look at it philosophically, the thought process was that everything began in a state of stillness. So a great stillness pervaded all things. And then there was intention to move. Stillness is often referred to as Wu Ji, and it is called a stillness practice. And then when movement was initiated, we have this idea of a polarity in order to enable motion, right? And that polarity is acknowledged as a yin and yang, an emptiness and fullness. And there is the birth of Tai Chi, if you will. So from one became two, and then from two became 10,000 things through creation. So this whole idea of looking at things as if they are naturally striving to harmonize profoundly influenced the Chinese culture and I would say the Eastern world, if you will. It makes sense. It's a very easy way to sort of observe things and sort of see as a guideline for our lives, for our behavior. So 1,000 years later, a gentleman by the name of Zhang Sanfeng, a great follower, if you will, of Taoism and a martial artist in his own right, and a gentleman who understood Qigong, which basically was the idea of working with your body's energy. So Qi meaning the body's energy and Kong meaning work. So here's a master of his own specialties, observes in nature the qualities of nature harmonizing itself and neutralizing it and seeking balance. So while standing on a balcony, he looks up and he sees a bird gazing down at a snake. And the bird swoops down to try to grab the snake. And the snake, through its yielding actions, is able to evade the onslaught of the bird. So eventually the bird gets frustrated and flies away, and the snake manages to avoid conflict, or avoid the being eaten by the bird. So here he is observing the actual philosophy in action, this idea of yielding to overcome hardness and neutralizing forces in nature. And through his experience, he designs a series of exercises that help to utilize that idea of harmonizing the body, harmonizing forces. So that was the foundation and the birth of Tai Chi as we think of it. And over the centuries, Tai Chi has evolved. And there are actually several variations on the idea. The very first form of Tai Chi was called primordial Tai Chi, a wonderful, energetic form of Tai Chi whose footwork was somewhat condensed, a very spirited action that utilizes a very happy approach, like a happy dragon way of elevating the Qi in the body and applying it to the martial actions. So interesting approach to managing one's mind, one's emotions, elevating that energy and getting it more exercise value out of the style. So very interesting approach. Several hundred years later, a Chen family member was introduced to the idea of Tai Chi and took it back to his village and engineered several training tools we call forms, patterns that help us obtain these skills through repetition. And that was the birth of the Chen style, a great martial approach to Tai Chi, much more power exhibited in the actions, a lot more explosion energy exhibited in the training. Another wonderful way to develop one's resources and control over our bodies. Also, naturally, having martial skills helps to deal with that inner fear that a lot of us obviously deal with. So from there, several hundred years had passed, and the Yang family member was introduced to the idea. So he went to the Chen village and tried to study with the Chen family, but being that they were very protective of their style, they normally didn't teach people outside of their family. So it took him a long time to actually finally endear himself to the family and be accepted as a student. And Yang Luchen, the grandmaster and originator of the Yang style, brought it back to his village, and before you know it, the Yang family style began to spread. But as all things do, we have change. And change is something that, is inevitable. Everything is in a constant state of change as we know it, right? So as Tai Chi evolved, the same thing happened. It went from a relatively small, condensed frame style to a more of a medium style where the movements were more open and expanded, to the style that we see today, a very large frame, very open, elegant, clear style. And I think because of the clarity of the style, because of the relatively even pace of the style, and the fact that it's something that anybody can really practice, has made the Yang family style in particular probably the most popular style in the world. I would imagine that 75 to 80% of the world's practitioners utilize the Yang style. From there were other styles that evolved as well, the Wu style, the Wu Hao, and Sun styles that had come out of that experience. So over several hundred years, you can imagine how these styles would spread out and evolve over time. So we're going to be discussing mostly the Yang style, and we're going to try to illustrate and work through and take a little closer look at some of these things and see if we can utilize these to supplement our practice. So when you think about practicing Tai Chi, there are so many wonderful benefits that come out of this experience. When you think about the needs of our body and the needs to also try to harmonize ourselves and sort of cooperate with nature and meet our body's needs, we too want to be able to work this concept into our body, the idea of having an emptiness and fullness. And what that does, in summary, when you think of having emptiness and fullness, the idea is that when something is empty, it can accept energy. And it's a lot easier to move when you're aware of that shifting in your body. And that also creates a differential that helps to drive the blood. So you're actually using this shifting of weight and very careful actions to push firmly on the internal elements of the body, and that's how we strengthen and cultivate the energy. So the Yang family style, extremely healthy method to do. A lot of people like it as far as just a general maintenance tool. But it is a martial art, so it does have martial applications, and it is a method of learning how to stabilize and manage our body and how to deal with forces that are coming to us. And in summary, it's going to help us to improve the coordination over our body. It's going to help to increase the energy level. We're like a battery, and the more you work with your body and work with your energy, the more energy you're going to cultivate, the more you're going to resist disease and frailty and falling and things like that. So it's a wonderful way to restore our body and to repair our body. We could go on and on about all of the different benefits, but in summary, it normalizes your body. No matter what frailty we find ourselves dealing with, giving our body a chance to heal by improving the circulation, calming and strengthening the body is what allows that normalization I'm talking about. So this basically shores your health up in lots and lots of ways. The other thing that it does, and this is a little bit more in depth, and it takes a little bit more time to get to and enjoy, and that is that it helps you to deal with your mind a little bit more. In other words, you think of exercise, a lot of times exercise needs, we're meeting the needs of our body and our circulation, all that cool stuff. But you also have to meet the needs of your mind. Your mind is a very busy place, and you need mechanisms for relaxing your thinking and removing and lowering stress levels in our body, right? And most of that stress in reality does come from our minds. So the whole idea of practicing systems like this is to be able to do this alone in the privacy in your yard, or maybe in the basement or someplace where you're not worried about what's going on around you so much. You're able to internalize your intention and take your mind off of your thinking. Your mind is very trainable. And by doing something enough times, you can guide your mind through any process you like. And when you're directing your thinking, when you're applying your thinking to difficult things and exercising, you're increasing your focus and your ability to manage yourself. So we need to deal with that, right? We need to be aware of that, so to speak, in order to not allow our minds to overwhelm us. So it's a method of making you aware of yourself, making you aware of your mind, and making you aware of your body and your energy. So it is a most profound way to improve our lives. Now, the other little thing about this is, the biggest challenge that we face as people, especially if you think of us as Americans, if you will, the point is we value our freedom, and sometimes we value our freedom to do nothing. And that can sneak up on you too, right? So we need methods to help us balance that out as well. Generally speaking, we tend to, as people, be lazy. That's a normal side effect, right? So what we want to try to do is to balance that out and keep our energy up so that we can do what we need to do and to take on the challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis. And that's why a method like this works. Now, when you think of the prescription of this thing, the frequency that's recommended is once in the morning and once at night. Ideally, you would like to get up and practice at around 6 a.m. in the morning, and that's when the energy is most dense and closest to the earth. Each breath is more efficient. So you would like to be able to exercise bright and early in the morning. At night, about a half an hour before bed, you want to clear the mind of all the things that you've been doing. You don't really want to go right from the television to the bed. That blue glow is still in your head for a little while, right? So by rolling through a sequence approximately 30 minutes long of exercise, your mind becomes in a very, very calm state. You've knocked all the stress out of the body. You have a nice sort of ready calmness, and you can slide right into a bed, maybe after a nice hot shower. So in summary, you'll sleep better, and you'll give your body that opportunity to benefit and utilize all the work that you've been performing with it, right? And during our sleep, that's when we heal. That's when we restore. So during the day, we make those deposits, and during the night, we benefit from those deposits, right? So it's important that the quality of our sleep be there. So think of this in a way as re-engineering your life in a way. I mean, for the better. We always try to take things from a bad situation to a good one. We're always trying to improve, right? We find ourselves naturally trying to do that. So hopefully Tai Chi can be a proven method for you as well. And we highly encourage you to stay into this sequence. Join us for classes Monday morning, Wednesday morning, and Friday morning, same time, around 10 o'clock. By the way, you can also, of course, come and visit us at the school. We're here, classes are rolling, and we're practicing greater areas of self-discipline, if you will, and distancing. So we try to keep plenty far apart. And practicing like Tai Chi, you don't really need to have to touch each other. So again, you can work together and work on this wonderful skill. So stay with us. We want to encourage you to turn on those notifications. That'll help you keep into the sequence of things. Also, I would encourage you to comment and help us develop this project. We look forward to your feedback. We always value what you have to say. So do that, and also invite people. Share this thing. Let's see how many people we can get involved and keep this thing going and develop this. Now, I want to share with you a basic training exercise that will prepare you for class. Generally speaking, I like to recommend that you stretch and you move that circulation around a little bit anytime you're going to do anything of any kind of performance, right? So you'd like to prepare your body a little bit. And that's the purpose of this exercise. It's designed to prepare your body a little bit. Now, what we're going to do is we want to take a look at the footwork and the way that the body is framed, so you may need a little bit more space for this. In summary, Bob, if you want to go to back up a little bit, what we're going to do is just back up and sit in a nice big wide posture. In summary, feet are shoulders width apart, sinking the chest, shoulders, elbows, wrists, and fingers. This is called the post position. Now, the advantage to this position is that it frames your body with the qualities that we're trying to bring into the practice. So when we think about what we're trying to accomplish when we practice Tai Chi, as well as perform this particular action, we're trying to remain stable. In other words, we're lowering our weight down into our feet, and we're trying to connect the body, right? So utilizing the body like a vessel of energy, we're trying to connect flows of motion through the body. And we're trying to drive that circulation in order to minimize any kind of stagnation. And the side effect is that your body acquires chi. It's a little bit like stroking a coil, right? Or, walking across the carpet. You excite the fibers and you excite the energy and create what we see as a static charge. So the same thing occurs in our body. We can increase the charge in our body. Now, one proven method of increasing your charge is to increase your spirit. So Master Zhang advocates a very happy spirit. And happy is easy, right? We can emulate happiness by brightening your gaze and increasing your smile a little bit and just holding that, so to speak, right? Reaching inside the body, you feel your breathing, you feel your feet, and you release everything down. So the head is elevated, the shoulders, elbows, wrists, and fingers are settled, the chest is sunk a little bit, moving down the body, the tail is relaxed. We're going to let all of our weight down in the feet, and just imagine you're kind of tubular. Extend it gently, breathe deeply. So the recommendation for this stance is 3 minutes. So work your way up to it. At first, you're going to find your shoulders are going to get a little stiff and your legs are going to react a little bit. Shake it off, and then just go right back into it. Don't accumulate the tension. When you feel you're distracted, your shoulders are bothering you, feel it in your legs and stuff like that, just shake it right up and go right back down. But do invest, 3 minutes at least to try to give you an accumulative effect. You do this 3 minutes a day, in 1 month, you will notice that your legs are stronger. And having a good, strong foundation just makes everything easier. It'll help to increase your performance as well. So you're going to see some wonderful side benefits come out of this. You just got to discipline yourself a little bit. Pay yourself first. Get up in the morning, exercise outside for a little while, and we'll accumulate more and more over time. All right. So in summary, I want to recommend that you set the alarm at 6 o'clock, get yourself up right away, you relieve yourself and get outside. Put a headphone on if you have to. Headphones on if it means you're in a noisy area and you want to sort of internalize a little bit. That's fine. But go outside, stretch a little bit, hold that posture. Think of yourself as driving your circulation. And we'll continue to build on this experience and develop a method of making our lives, improving the quality of life, right? We're not necessarily trying to make life easier, although that would be a good side effect. How about we just improve the overall quality, right? All right. With that in mind, I look forward to seeing you Monday. Warm up a little bit before class. Tonight before bed, same thing. Get out there, shake it off a little bit, and exercise your body. Meditate for a few minutes. Take a nice hot shower. Boom, hit the sack. You'll see, nice easy morning will follow. Great to spend time with you. Be blessed and enjoy your weekend. We see you Monday.